I saw a demo today where a voice-activated AI assistant did a 13-minute call with a lady talking about, a real-life call. A lady talking about like her troubles and all the therapy stuff that we go through in sales. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that. I've been selling since I was a kid in every aspect. Literally handed a phone book and told to just call it.
Get ready for a new episode of KP Talks Dollars and Cents. Learn financial literacy and get real-time updates on all things housing, finance, and real estate. So let's get started. Here's your host, Kevin Perenio.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Texas Stadium. The Cowboys on Monday night are playing the Bengals. It is a tight game. It is 20-20, and I am in town for the Total Expert Customer Advisory Board meeting. And we have about 7.5 minutes to go. Scalped the ticket this morning. Let's go! Cowboys interception, let's go! So our offense can't get it done. So by the way, we're in the Optum Club, which is like lower level, 50-yard line. There's literally, look at this. There's nobody here. There's nobody here. And I'm going to talk to you about worker productivity in a minute. And I got to tell you, there is one of the most productive people I've ever met. And unfortunately, he's being Mark? Say hi, brother. I'll take it to go. I know. So Mark flies in from Vegas to come work Cowboys games. Think about that. That's how good it normally is on a Sunday. This is terrible. Anyway, I'm here with Dan Catanella, who is like the man, him and Joe Value over at Total Expert. And we are learning about AI. And what I learned today about AI and where it's going for salespeople, processors, loan officer assistants. This guy's from Philly. This is his first experience ever. Go Birds. We deserve that. We're having a good night. We're having a good time. But I'm going to get serious here for a second as we walk out and go back to the game. U.S. GDP is 2.5% last year. Japan 1.9%, which is the third largest economy in the world. And Betsy, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The staff here is always amazing. Unbelievable. China is the third largest economy in the world, and Japan is third. And of course, the Cowboys just fumbled. Jesus. Our productivity, is at 2.3%. So workers being better at what they do, like using AI, using technology, like Sella that we saw today for the front end sales stuff, like Friday Harbor, which I saw for fulfillment and collecting documentation and integration with your LOS. These are the two best AI tech partners I've seen so far in the business for sales, which is what drives the revenue. Productivity in the US is 2.3%. That means that we have cut our ability to double our GDP in America by 10 years. Worker productivity is humongous. The unemployment rate went up to 4.2%. The labor participation rate was the lowest since May at 62.5%. We have a shrinking workforce slightly, with people not being able to find jobs, especially if they lose them, but the people who are still working are more productive than ever. And that's a good thing for our economy. So that's why our GDP is rocking. That's why we're better than the G7. Germany, deflation. Japan at 1.9%. The UK and Spain, they're at 1.1%. So we are rocking on that aspect. And I'm going to talk about Syria in a second, so sit tight. I'll just add that the economy, obviously with productivity, you're seeing it in the tech stocks. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not responsible for your losses, only your profits. But the tech stocks are ripping. Bitcoin's ripping. It's ripping for a reason, because tech is driving productivity and efficiency and time ROI. There are a lot of people that run their business on money ROI, but time ROI is very important too. Time is money. So if I saw a demo today where a voice-activated AI assistant did a 13-minute call with a lady talking about, a real-life call. A lady talking about like her troubles and all the therapy stuff that we go through in sales. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that. I've been selling since I was a kid in every aspect. Literally handed a phone book and told to just call it and sell True Green, Kimlon, free lawn estimates. But you hear everything. And if you could save a 13-minute call setting up an application using technology, then your skilled originator can get a call set up and in their calendar, hand it to them, and then work the deal. You can't get that 13 minutes back listening to, some of the stories that go through from some of our borrowers, and like they have legit issues in life, and we play therapists, but AI is going to help with that. So productivity is going to continue to grow, it's going to scale, it's going to go up, and then that was Sella, and then of course Friday Harbor is helping you collect docs, it's helping you get information, size up the loan, get everything into your system, connected to your LOS. And that's some fantastic AI tech. I've been looking for months for good AI, and at the Mortgage Innovator Conference in May for the California MBA, which I'm co-chair together with Ike Suri and of course Paul Gelati and Susan Milazzo and Nick Foster, we're all working to bring venture capital, prop tech, fintech, and make it the blueprint of our business. So you're going to see good tech in Huntington Beach, May 7th, 8th, and 9th. So we're going to make good stuff happen in our business and give you the blueprint for success. The California MBA is a nonprofit. It's an advocacy group. It is not out for themselves, so that's huge. The MBA, another advocacy group. The National MBA, we had a huge call today. Huge call. Our IMB network call, we talked about policy, housing policy going forward. Our new HUD secretary, Treasury secretary, trigger lead reform, and all these things. And Jason Stanger, the chief operations officer of Movement, myself, we're co-chair together for the IMB. That's in Austin, January 27th. Early registration ends December 18th, so please don't miss it. It's a huge show. It's the way you kick off the year before it gets really crazy busy in spring purchase season. And there's gonna be a lot of good sessions in there, good tech talked about. So please make your way there. So GDP, productivity, job support, all that stuff matters. It's what drives our economy. And you know what? The thing that drags it or boosts it is inflation. We have a CPI report coming out this week, and the November inflation report basically says estimates of 0.3% versus 0.2% last month. So, but it's mostly housing, which we know we have no supply. PPI 2.4%. Should be 0.2 versus 0.2. Okay, you guys ready? You ready? Just some LinkedIn vibes on a Monday night and Monday Night Football. As the Cowboys are, it's 20-20 with 6 minutes up. Cowboys are driving. Here we go. Anyways, I'm getting the Eagles fan disappointment. Okay, let me talk about one more thing before we go, okay? This is an entertaining video, I know that. I'll be back Thursday after the CPI and PPI. Let me just talk about Syria for a second, okay? Some people may not know, like Assad, who together with his father brutally ruled Syria for like 53 years. I mean, literally imprisoned people. We have a 12-year prisoner, I think it's Austin Tice, who is an American. We're trying to find him. All these prisoners that were like brutally kept in these prisons by this regime for years. The Assad regime fell. But who toppled it? A rebel that ran the Al-Qaeda in Syria, which killed hundreds of American soldiers. There are over 200 grave sites at the Arlington Cemetery of American soldiers who died in the Middle East because of the man that took down Syria. And of course, we've been supporting the toppling of that regime, but look who's in charge now. And let me just say that it is like Game of Thrones. It's like, you know, the enemy of your enemy is your friend, and I'm not sure about that. Sometimes morals have to stand their ground. So I do think in the end the U.S. will do what's best for the moral right, but Syria falling is, I read a very interesting stock analyst article today regarding this, and so this is very important. So there's a power vacuum there, obviously. Russia has been supporting the Assad regime for years because There is an Iran, Iraq, Russia-backed gas pipeline that ran through Damascus. There is a Turkey-Israel natural gas pipeline supported by the U.S. that runs through Damascus. I'm not doing conspiracy here. I'm just saying there's a lot of energy at play here. The world needs energy. There are chemical weapons depots. There are weapons facilities. And so who controls that? You know, who is in control of that right now? It matters to us because the peace dividend in the world makes our economy hum. If we don't have to worry about volatile gas and oil prices, if we don't have to worry about World War III, we have to worry about a terrorist regime getting more weapons and more power and billions of dollars because they took over a nation state, then, you know, we can just focus on doing friggin' loans, you know, and helping people put a roof over their head, not have to worry about a terrorist attack on our soil. So this stuff matters. The peace dividend matters, and of course, you know, just hoping that you know, we'll sort things out as the good cop of the world that we've always been. It's worth mentioning. I'm not trying to get political. I'm not even trying to take stances. I could have got way more opinionated, but doesn't matter. Just keep working harder, and I'll get back to you guys on Thursday. Have a great one. Cheers.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Corona, California. Wrapping up the week here. It is 8/13. I was born on August 13th. That just happened, and it's weird because I'm going to tell. It's so funny how the universe makes me think we're in a simulation. I literally looked over there, and there it is, my birthday. I had no idea it was that time. These things happen. The Fed meets. The world rotates. Everything's going on. So I'm going to tell you a couple things. So that was weird. The universe just spoke to me. Do you know that when Freddie Freeman hit his Dodgers game-winning home run, it was like to the minute, literally like 30-something, 40-something years earlier when Kirk Gibson hit his home run? Or when the Rangers won the World Series last year, they won every road game. Road, R-O-A-D, every road game in the playoffs to win that. Road, Rays, Orioles, Astros, Diamondbacks, in that order? Did you know that? Well, here's something else that was crazy. So I found out one of our PRMG family members in our post-closing department, has been here 12 years, is battling cancer. And we have a nonprofit, and it's called PRMG Cares. It's a 501c3. And we help with our teammates. That's where our charitable dollars go. And so I was reading his email, and I was getting choked up. And his department is rallying. You know, we have other departments donate paid time off for people that have exhausted theirs, such as this gentleman. And then Creed's One Last Breath came on my mix, and then Candlebox Far Behind came on after that, and then Lightning Crashes, came on after. I mean, it's like the universe just speaks to you at times, and it's unbelievable, and you just got to roll with it. So look out for the PRMG Cares Holiday Fundraiser. We do it every year. Gary Malice, who is one of the 4 partners and owners of PRMG, runs strategy and cap markets, his team, and his wife, Andrea Malice, who's amazing, puts her fingerprints all over so many different projects. PRMG University, our Account Executive University, Branch Manager University, our President's Cabinet trip. She used to run a very successful business helping private clients with travel. And their son, Caleb, wonderful family, Cammy and Caleb. But Caleb is he is an actor. He was on an HBO miniseries, Plot Against America. He's a very good artist, and he puts out original, authentic work just for each show. So check it out. There'll be a link in there. You can see it on our PRMG corporate account as well. And let's raise some money for teammates that are dealing with a struggle, and you get something in return. So hopefully you'll catch that. Okay. The Fed is meeting next week. They are game planning for 2025 and beyond. All of our companies are. All of our meetings. I've been on so many board meetings and end of the year advisory this and what's going on next year. We have our budget meetings next week. It's unbelievable. It's that time of year. And it is for the Fed as well. So every other meeting, okay, they meet every 6 weeks, but every 12 weeks, they put out the dot plot, a.k.a. the dot plot, which is the summary of economic projections. So they are going to say they're going to cut 25 basis points. I've been saying that all along. Just look at the 2-year Treasury. The Fed rate is still higher than market rates, the 2-year Treasury, so they need to bring it down. These are short-term rates. These are different things that matter mechanically in how we sell Treasuries and worry about the strength of the dollar. Don't want to get in too strong. We want to be able to sell our Treasuries. We want to have good trade. And so they are meeting next week, and they're going to say what they're going to do. And before the PPI report came out today, there was a 98.6% chance that they would cut 25 basis points after the CPI came out yesterday. But the CPI was hot, right? Inflation's in sticky. We're nowhere near 2%. I know, I hear everyone saying that. But if you actually, some of like the analysts I listen to that are great stock traders, they don't dig in like we do in our business. Did you know that the 8th largest deceleration in housing occurred yesterday on the CPI ever? 14 basis points month over month. That's a big number. Those numbers do move slowly. So I know we can't have it both ways. We can kind of, pick apart and go, oh, that shouldn't be too high. PPI shouldn't be too high today, because this, that, and the other. But when it's good in our favor, it's kind of, you have to kind of take the same approach. However, this was a huge deceleration. Okay. And owner's equivalent rent, new rents, rental costs all came down. That lag effect we've been talking about, because we know for a year that new leases are getting cheaper. It's finally happening. It's coming out there. Now, the CPI, still came in hot for, just a myriad of reasons or whatever. It's always something, cars or insurance or whatever. But the housing is the big one. It's 45% of the CPI. And is it a trend that's coming down? That all but locked in the 25 basis point rate cut, which was already locked in. Then the PPI came in just a smidge hotter because of chicken eggs. So food inflation was a little hot. And so that went down to 96%, which is still pretty high. So they're cutting next week. But what they're going to say for the rest of the year and the cost of funds, will there be less cuts next year for Fed funds rates? Will it pause in January and then take some time? So there'll be, that cost of money will stay there for 12 weeks and then maybe another cut later, going to kind of course correct. But businesses are doing great. The stock market's running. Bitcoin's running. The European Central Bank cut 25 basis points. They have probably 4 more cuts to go, another point. Bank of Canada cut, Switzerland cut. Bank of Canada cut 50 bips. So even though their language was hawkish, they cut 50 bips, a big cut. So the dollar strengthens when other currencies and their versions of treasuries come down. And so we don't want it to get too strong because that's not good for international trade and our exports, right? And so we're going to cut. And don't fight the Fed, I'm telling you. Don't fight them on the way up. Don't fight them on the way down. So what else did I get out here? Okay, little bullet point here. So back in like the 1800s and 1900s, our budget was like 5% of GDP. It's now 50% of GDP. Now our GDP is 27 trillion. So that's good. So no one ever talks about the growth part. Like we are a very strong economy and growing, by the way, and very productive. And so our productivity and our AI usage, which you heard me talk about AI a couple days ago, it's going to continue to make us a productive society. Can't wait for Elon to roll out that Optimus bot so it can do my laundry, mix cocktails, play guitar, all the stuff that is amazing around the house. So, but that efficiency is going to help our economy continue to grow. We have a new administration that's focused on government efficiency, cutting costs, cutting red tape. A lot of that 50% of our spending is because of bureaucracy and red tape. So how much of that can get cut out, we'll see. We're going to find out. Some very big talking points of, like the CFPB, for example, is going to be deleted according to Elon Musk. I don't know if they can do that. It requires an act of Congress to do that. Will they kneecap that, government entity with budgeting or whatever, or maybe, put someone in there that may be a little bit more hands off? I'll say something as a contrarian, and I think is a positive point. Did you see $1.8 billion returned to people by the CFPB for a credit restoration company ripping people off? And how about today, the great Kate Berry? She's an incredible journalist. She writes for Arizent. The CFPB is putting a $5 cap on overdraft fees for banks to charge. $5 cap. They're saying this falls under the TILA, because it's looked at as a loan. And so banks are welcome to charge more, but then they have to say what their APR is, which it's crazy. If it's $5 on the cap that's going to save households about $225 a year, $5 billion, $5 billion back in our pockets. So, those are wins from the CFPB. And so I don't know everything that's going to happen, but I know that if more oil is drilled, that will bring down, consumers' costs at the gas pump, which is good. More money in our pocketbook. So we're going to see what's going on. But I will tell you that if government jobs get cut, the private sector will hire that talent if they're talented. And so, the government doesn't have to run a profitable business. They run in debt. We're in debt. They don't have to run a profitable business. We do. And I got to pay taxes. And so all of us, right? So not just me and my business, like me personally and all of us. So if someone leaves the government sector, a private company that must remain profitable may be likely to hire those people. And so that's actually good for our GDP. It cuts costs. Our debt and deficit are the reason why there's a shift. And you see the 20-year Treasury, the 10-year Treasury, and the 30-year long bond. You see their rates going up, that yield curve going up, and then short-term debt is coming down because the economy's doing well and the Fed is cutting. Speaking of the 10-year Treasury, which really has a pretty tight correlation with mortgage interest rates, are we seeing another lower high? What do I mean by that? We've been at 4.99%, 4.8%, 4.64%, 4.44%, okay? And then we bounced down, to as low as 360 or 389. And so we've been coming up and down, but every single time we've had a lower high. So we're at 434 or 432 right now. Is that it? Are we gonna touch 437 and that's another lower high and then start that peg down after the Fed cuts? We'll be watching. So 10-year Treasury auction was actually pretty good. And so that those are things to think about: the velocity of money, debt and deficit, spending, the tactical part that the Treasury does in funding our government. And we talk about tariffs. There's a lot of tariffs today. The Biden administration today, like this last week, basically said, "Sorry, China, you can't buy our NVIDIA chips." And they said, "Oh, okay." So today, China said, "We are not going to sell you at all. Not a tariff. We're not going to sell you at all, like like germanium, antimony, and selenium or some other rare earth mineral that they control. Like we buy like 50 to 65% of these rare earth minerals from China, and they control like 94% of the market, right? So like night vision goggles, solar panels for solar panels go on spacecraft. I mean, these are things that like they just fought back today, right? So can't have it both ways if you're a tariff talker and and hating the new administration, because it's happening today. And so we could mine here in Tennessee or Arkansas or Phoenix. There's a Phoenix copper mine that has been mired in red tape for 26 years. So we could a byproduct of mining coal and zinc and things like that are these rare earth minerals. So if we can cut through some red tape, get some more mining done, we can take that stuff and onshore some jobs, by the way, and not worry about that. So I will just, to talk private sector real quick, got just a couple minutes, so bear with me. So I really wanted to talk about Tesla and SpaceX. So SpaceX is now valued at $350 billion, okay? I mean, they're launching satellites. They're putting satellites. Starlink's amazing. I've had it for a couple of years. I think Elon is going to launch a Tesla phone. Why create all this bandwidth for 5G and 6G and everything that's coming, and then just hand over 30% pay to Apple? They're going to come up with their own phone, and they're going to pull things over. I'm telling you, it's all happening. Full self-driving is coming, okay? It's coming. Let me explain it. So I know I talked about the 11 billion miles, 9 billion on autopilot, and 2 billion on full self-driving. So when you get a software update, literally my car just updated overnight. I was sitting in Manhattan Beach. It was 1 o'clock, and I had scheduled a 1 a.m. software update. I didn't think I'd be there. But my buddy Brian was in town from Tiff Streets, which just launched in more locations. Got to order cookies, do some gifting. You got to check it out. Please, please, please. Download the app, Tiff Streets. It's amazing. They're all over Southern California now. Ghost Kitchening out of the great group, Corner Bakery. So I sat in my car, waited for my update. This is version 13. So this whole year has been version 12, then 12.1, 12.2. When they go from a new number, 12 to 13, there it is again, 13. Jesus, my lucky number. I was born on Friday 13th, and now we're at we're at 13:13 on the clock. I'm telling you, this universe is a simulation, and it's messing with me, but it's channeling through me right now. I'm going to roll with it. So I have full self-driving in my car, this insane level 5 version now. And so all they need is 6 billion full self-driving miles, and a state like California or Texas will then approve it. So by April, okay, every 65 days is another billion miles on full self-driving that's clocked in AI to get there. So when we get to 6 billion full self-driving miles, Texas and or California can greenlight level 5 fully autonomous driving for Tesla owners. Waymo is level 4. It's geo-fenced in, like only in LA, only in Dallas, only in San Francisco, only in Phoenix. Full self-driving everywhere this car is roaming. I will kick back, lay back. I will be on my Zoom calls like I am normally, and I don't have to touch the wheel. I don't have to like put my phone down when the camera stares at me. It is amazing, and it is happening. Syria hasn't really been that big of a drag on our bond market. Usually there's a flight to safety, no such thing. Trump administration said, let them fight it out, and they are fighting it out. And every time we see a regime get toppled a year later, it's like some hardliner, regime. Look at Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya. China, their policy, like they're trying to like boost their growth. Like they're making loans cheaper. They are requiring less reserves for their banks. I mean, money, the velocity of money is flowing. So let's flow into the weekend. Don't forget to sign up for the IMB in Austin. Early registration is up in like 6 days. Have a wonderful weekend. Cheers.
You've been listening to KP Talks Dollars and Cents, a top-rated show for those who want to learn about the economy and mortgage environment. Tune in each week for more episodes, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Kevin Perenio does not render or offer to render personalized investment or tax advice through KP Talks Dollars and Cents. The information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, investment, or legal advice. For more info, follow KP Talks Dollars and Cents on all of our social channels.